If you could, please join us for our national anthem. Please stand, face the south. Gentlemen, remove your caps while the pep band under the direction of Mr. Randy Sundell perform our national anthem.
Dominating win over Buffalo Grove. Deerfield, they come into this game. The Warriors also 3-1 with a 22-14 comeback win versus Wheeling. What do you expect out of tonight's game?
Well, I expect a good contest between the Cougars and the Warriors. Both teams do enter at a record of 3-1. This is the first conference game. Of course, Vernon Hills in its new athletic conference this year. They're in the Central Suburban League. And this is the kickoff of conference weekend for high school football. So again, both talented teams coming in at a record of 3-1. The common opponents that they've faced, both teams have played Wheeling as well as Buffalo Grove. And against those teams, each team is 1-1. So the Cougars, as Tyler mentioned at the opening, beat Buffalo Grove, whereas Deerfield lost to Buffalo Grove. And the Cougars lost to Wheeling, which Deerfield beat. So it should be a pretty even matchup tonight. I'm looking for a good night of football here.
And Ari Nadler with the kickoff, and this is a nice deep kick, will be taken at the 12, taken down to the 25, outright to the 30, to the sideline, to the 35. He's going to get going to the 40, knocked out of bounds at the 42. A nice return by Drew Weingartner there, sets up the Cougars with great field position. And their quarterback, Kyle Hull. Kyle playing in his second game, missed the first 3 games, and really dominant in his last week's win over Buffalo Grove.
Well, Tyler, you said it, a great way to start this game for the Cougars. Excellent run back by Weingartner. Had them set up within striking distance of midfield, and certainly a great start to the contest.
And guy in motion, is going to take the snap, fake handoff. Hull looking, he's going to have to scramble. And he's going to fire across his body, complete, down to Drew Weingartner. That's going to get him to the other 42-yard line. And a first down for the Cougars. And they're quickly getting in motion here.
Cougars looking for a big play to start. He was actually looking down the middle of the field, was Hull, but the receiver was guarded there. I believe it was their tight end. But Weingartner did a nice job adjusting his route, coming back to the ball. And as Hull rolled out to his left, he found him on the sideline. Nice completion for the first play of the game.
And that's something we've seen out of both quarterbacks so far, with the roll-out passing play. And that's something that Coach Belcomo, we keep going back to that before the season begins. And this is going to be a handoff or read option here that's going to get stuffed out. We keep going there. He said he was going to do a run-oriented spread offense. That's really what he has shown so far this season. That play did not work. It's going to give him 2nd down and 9.
Well, if you add the kickoff return to that first completion for the Cougars, they've covered about 45 or 50 yards already. And with the ball at the 43-yard line, certainly looking like they could put together a scoring drive on their opening possession.
Guy in motion here. Hull takes the snap, handoff, and this is going to go off tackle to the 40. He's knocked down at the 37. A big hit there by number 33, Michael Santos. And that will put it at about 3rd down and 3 for the Cougars. Not within field goal range yet, but certainly at the beginning of the game, looking to get a big play, really start with your momentum early.
Well, nice pickup there for Weingartner, and the key there is he had blockers running ahead of him, and plenty of them. So good pickup, about 7 yards, makes it 3rd and short here.
Guy in motion, Hull with the snap. He's going to hand it off to Morris. Morris, it's going to be the same play. He's going to come close to the 1st down marker. It's going to be interesting to see where they spot it, and they are going to rule it a 1st down for the Cougars.
The tackler was on his heels there, and the ball runner just powered through. And sure enough, yep, they do give him the 1st down. Okay, looked like they were going to spot it a little closer than what the Cougars may have been comfortable with, but it sure looks like they did get it. They're going to get a new set of downs here, and moving the ball well here to start the game.
Kyle Hulley's going to line up. It looks like here with 3 to the right, 2 to the left. That's something we've seen the Cougars do a lot. Is have an open playbook with 5 wide. Have a lot of jets and have a lot of QB draws.
You'll see a lot of motion out of the Cougars here.
And it looks like a fake snap, maybe trying to draw Deerfield offside, and that doesn't work. Hull back in the shotgun. Takes the snap. He's going to fire a little screen pass. That's Lyle. Lyle takes it to the 30-yard line where he's going to be brought down for a gain of about 3, 2nd and 7 here for the Cougars. And the Cougars coming into this game, as I mentioned before, Kyle Hull being his 2nd game. He had a good game, but did make some mistakes that you would see out of this is his 1st game at quarterback. Coach Belcomo said of him, quote, "The game's real quick for him right now. Everyone else is in week 4, and he was just in week 1. As this is going to be a handoff here, down to the 25, takes it to the 20, and down to about the 19-yard line for a 1st down. And a nice play for Drew Weingartner.
Weingartner making an early case here for just an outstanding game with the kickoff return, but also a pass reception and a couple of nice runs for Weingartner. So he's been most of the offense for the Cougars so far, and as they've successfully driven the ball down the field.
So it will be 1st down here. Not quite in the red zone, getting close. It's going to be a play there for Hull, and he's going to be wrapped up. Couldn't get rid of the ball. Guy coming in there, number 58 for the Cougars. That's Ryan Lieb making the tackle, and that's going to be third down and long here for the Cougars.
Tyler and I were talking about that linebacker for the Warriors. He's probably their star player. They have a couple of really, really talented players on their squad. He's one of them. We don't have a number 58 on our roster here, but our assumption, just based on the specs that they've given us, is that indeed is Ryan Lieb. He's a 6'6", 265-pound linebacker, and someone that I understand is actually being recruited to play in college. So you can probably see he's a big guy, even on your monitor there.
And it's going to be 2nd down. It's going to be a nice run here, and he's going to get wrapped up. A nice tackle there by number 50, Alexander Burns, for the Warriors. As you were saying about Lieb, he also looked like he was extremely athletic getting off the line, which is not something you want to have a big guy and athletic. Not something you want to be dealing with if you're an offensive lineman for the Cougars.
Hey, he was a little slow to get up there. It looks like he was shaking, almost like he's shrugging off a right shoulder or something. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, he's definitely made his presence known so far early on in this game.
3rd and about 18 here for the Cougars. 3 to the right, 2 to the left for Hull. Motion here, that's Max Lyle. It's going to be a fake handoff to him. Hull looking in the pocket. Pocket's going to collapse on him, and he's not going to be able to evade that tackle. It's Ryan Lieb again on that sack, and it's going to be 4th down, and it looks like the Cougars are going to bring out the punting unit.
Yeah, and Lieb has just been playing with speed and athleticism, as Tyler mentioned, and he's really putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. That's a couple of possessions there where the Cougar quarterback has been under pressure, and at that point he did go down for the sack, and the punt unit is out, a little too far even for the mighty leg of our place kicker this year, who's having a great year. Punt unit is out.
Out here, he's also the punter for the team. He's shown very good technical placement there. This one wasn't the greatest of all punts, but it does get down to the 13-yard line. And the Warriors will have a long field to begin their first drive of the game. Warriors coming in after having a really bad 3 quarters of their game last week, and then really showing up at the end, having 2 touchdowns with no timeouts left in a minute 20, and able to defeat Wheeling in their last game. So momentum on their side here, would you say?
Their quarterback is a junior, Jonah Silverglade. He ran 40 yards for one of those touchdowns when he couldn't find an open receiver. And then Sam Fraden, senior for the Warriors, gave them a lead when he ran in the 2-point conversion. And then Deerfield added another touchdown to cap the comeback win over the Wildcats last week. So here is number 9, the signal caller. You see him at the center of your screen, and Deerfield on their first possession.
And out of the set, it's going to be Silvergrade rolling out with the little pitch there, and he's going to get hit out of bounds at the 17. That's Ari Nadler, knocked out of bounds by Drew Weingartner. That's going to bring up 2nd and 7 for the Warriors.
Even though the Cougars didn't score any points on their first possession, I think overall you have to be pleased if you're on the coaching staff. It was a positive possession. They showed they can move the ball against these guys. Yeah, they stalled a little bit once they got onto the Deerfield half of the field, but I think hopefully that bodes well, and the Cougars will be able to do, build on that and maybe convert some points here in their next couple possessions.
This is the first time this year that I can remember, at least, that we've seen someone go out of the traditional, a quarterback go out of the traditional under center snap. We see a lot of, especially at this level of the game, a lot of shotgun motion plays. So a new look maybe for the Cougars they haven't seen yet, and this is going to be a run up the middle there for about 4 yards. Going to make it 3rd down. That's Sam Fraden on that run. It's going to make it 3rd down and about 2 here for the Warriors.
Yeah, that ended up being a handoff. Chick Smith for the Cougars thought the quarterback still had the ball, so he actually tackled him in the backfield, but he was not the ball carrier. 3rd and 4 here. 3rd and about 2, actually. It was announced 3rd and 4, but looks like 3rd and about 2. It's short for the Warriors. Let's see if the Cougars can come up with a big stand early in this contest.
And they have 4 guys inside the 4 receivers inside the eligible box, only 1 wide. And this is going to be a handoff, and he's not going to get there.
I think they stopped him.
And it looks like they backed him up a little bit. If not, he got back to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 4th down here, and it looks like no game, 4th and 1.
Well, that's a big stop for the Cougar defense early on. Nice to force Deerfield to get a 3 and out in their first possession. And so far, even though no points are on the board, I would say the Cougars have won this battle. They marched down the field pretty nicely, and Deerfield hardly able to move the ball at all. They only gained about 8 yards on that possession.
Especially, and if you look for the defense, especially seeing how much of a problem the defense for Deerfield looks like it's going to give you, especially at the defensive line, as punting on 4th and 1. It's going to be fielded at the 38, dropped, and he falls back on top of it. That's Jack Himmel, who was the quarterback for the first 3 games for the Cougars on that one, down at the 33. As I was saying, with Deerfield, with their defensive line looking as menacing as it is, to be able to hold them, especially on 3rd and 1, has to be a big key.
Yeah, and yet I think the Cougars have got to be pretty pleased with the way they were moving the ball. You know, they took a shot downfield a little bit with a long 15-yard pass to Weingartner, had a couple nice runs to the outside. Maybe the interior of that defense is something not to be messed with, but the Cougars are finding space. Hopefully they continue to be creative and moving the ball.
It's going to be 3rd down here. It's going to be a fake. It's going to be handoff up the middle down to the 41-yard line for Holland. It's going to be 2nd down and about 3 here to go.
I think what you're going to end up seeing here is the Cougar offensive lineman really maybe even double teaming number 58 just to get him off the ball a little bit, make some running room for their runners. Hall with a really nice carry there on 1st down, picks up about 8, as Tyler said. And just everything gets a little bit easier when you have short yardage in 2nd, 3rd, and eventually 4th downs.
Handoff here, and a guy in motion. It's going to be Maris. Maris taking it to 45, breaks out of a tackle, able to get a 2nd effort, knocked down at the 49-yard line by number 33, Michael Santos. And it's going to be a 1st down for the Cougars.
And the results have been pretty much a mixed bag at this point. Cougars with a few plays that have gone for double-digit yards, a few that were a little bit shorter, and they've been stuffed in the backfield a little bit. So a little bit of everything for the Cougar offense, but overall impressive so far against this Deerfield squad.
Especially when you look at that first drive and you're stalled, especially being able to get a couple runs, get into that defensive line and stop them has to be a big momentum shift. And this is going to be caught on the sideline by Drew Weingartner. That's going to take him out to the 47-yard line. It's going to be 2nd and about 5 here for the Cougars.
Yeah, not a long completion, but a quick out there by Weingartner to the sideline. Nice pass made by Hull. And again, you're looking at 2nd and 5, which opens up the playbook a little bit. You're not so restricted to certain plays when you only have to get 5 yards in the next 2 downs. So looking good again. Cougars hopefully will continue to move the ball. Weingartner making an early case for player of the game. He's racked up a bunch of yards already.
Especially when you're on both sides of the ball and the kick returner, that's something you're going to be able to do very well is show off. And this is going to get down to the 39-yard line. First down and a nice run there by Jeffrey Rosenstock. And the Cougars are in motion again, or are moving the ball again here.
Yeah, a little change of pace there for Rosenstock. Weingartner has been the leading ball carrier so far, but they give Deerfield a little bit of a new look there with Rosenstock. A little bit more of a punishing runner, bigger body, and same results. He picked up enough yards for the first down.
1st and 10 here for the Cougars. Guy in motion is going to be a handoff to him, and he's not going to get anywhere. He's going to actually get a couple more yards than it was originally wrapped up, and that's going to be 2nd down and 7 here for the Cougars. Weingartner with that run. Kyle Hull, as we've mentioned before, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, is his 2nd career game. I said that Coach Belcomo said he was going fast for him. Coach Belcomo's hoping that the game is going to slow down for him, saying, quote, we kind of knew going in the speed of the game that it was going to be quick for him, especially coming back. Things will slow down for him. It will be good to get him out there and get him some reps where we were really in a game where we were really good on defense, and this is going to get us down to the 31. That is Nick Morris on that run, and that's something we don't see very often from the Cougars, especially with their high-powered, fast-paced offense. Is don't appreciate as much their defense, how well they have done so far this year. This is going to be 3rd down for the Cougars. It's going to be the first time one of the first times in this game you see a halfback inset. That's Jeffrey Rosenstock. He'll be in there along with guys like Kyle Hull. Kyle Hull's the quarterback. Max Lyle is in there, and Drew Weingartner as well line up back there pretty often. 3rd and 1 here. It's just going to be a read option here, and he's going to get it down to the 25. Tackled down at the 21-yard line by Ryan Lieb, and that's going to get the first down for the Cougars, almost in red zone right now.
Yeah, nice disguise right there. Everyone thought Rosenstock would get the ball on 3rd and 1, but instead Kyle Hull bounces it outside a little bit, finds a little running room. And, again, Tyler, the Cougars are moving the ball pretty methodically here. No huge gains, but sort of chipping away. I would say right now, with Schmidt's leg, they're probably in field goal range. Obviously, they're sniffing for more than that. But they're just giving the Warriors enough different looks to keep them on their toes. And the offense has been very successful so far.
I'd say from out here it would be a 38 or 39-yard field goal, but it is first down. And it's going to be a handoff and a nice run here by Rosenstock, cutting outside, only going to get about 3 yards. Going to be 2nd and 7 here for the Cougars.
And I think you're seeing the game plan just unfold before our eyes. They are definitely committed to the run. They're handing the ball off a lot. But the truth of the matter is, if Deerfield is giving up runs of the length that they are, there's no need to really even consider, getting risky by throwing the ball in the air. So if the run's working, I say keep with it until they prove they can stop you. And every once in a while, you got to mix in a pass to keep them honest. But otherwise, very effective running game so far for Vernon Hills.
Guy in motion is going to be a pass here. Hull fires towards the back of the end zone, and it's going to be intercepted, I think. And I'm waiting for an official call from the referee, whether it's incomplete or intercepted. I haven't seen anything yet. So the referee's discussing it in the corner of the end zone, and it is going to be an interception. A great play there by Deerfield. It's going to be first down at the 20 for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly they were discussing. It looked like a pretty clean catch there, a pretty clean play. Maybe the question was whether or not he landed in bounds as he came down with the ball. But again, that was a little bit underthrown. The ball was a little bit underthrown. If he threw it a little bit more towards the back pylon, I think it's 6 points for the Cougars. But that's going to happen. They had double coverage there. They had a cornerback and a safety going up for that ball. I believe it was the corner that came down with it. But again, a productive drive for the Cougars. And if our defense can stick with it here and maybe, force another turnover on downs, we're going to be right back at it.
And another point of emphasis so far for the Cougars this year has been the opponent's field position. And with Schmidt really on the kickoffs, pinning them back to the 20 each and every time. Another time inside the 20, the first drive started at the 14. And that's where the Cougars seem to prosper. And this is going to be a 4-yard run. Chick Smith on the tackle. That's where the Cougars seem to prosper, is when they are able to hold the opposing offenses to bad field position. Second down here for the Warriors. Second down and 7 is what it is called at.
You can see the players looking over to the sideline to get the play, and then at their wristbands, make sure they're all on the same page.
Under center guy in motion. It's a snap and a handoff to number 22, Sam Frodlin. He doesn't get anywhere. Again on the read option, being able to cover both guys on the quarterback and the running back. And it's going to be 3rd and 7 as the clock continues to tick here towards the end of the first quarter. Still 0-0.
Yeah, that play covered up well by the interior linemen of the Cougars. No running room at all for Fraden. They dropped him pretty much at the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 5 again, so got a chance here to force the turnover on downs. I'm sure that's what they're thinking. I'd be looking for Deerfield to throw the ball. They haven't had a lot of running room yet. So with 3rd and middle distance here, I'm going to guess they're going to put the ball in the air.
And they have been running with the same formation, only one wide out. And it is going to be a fumble, and the Cougars fall on it. The Cougars fall on the fumble. There were 2 guys there to fall on it. Number 21, the guy there, Nick Morris, as well as number 51, Chick Smith, were the 2 guys in there. And the Cougars get the ball in great field position with 11.1 to go after the fumble.
Well, Tyler, the turnover battle is even again. Just a moment ago, Deerfield intercepted Hull's pass in the end zone, and the Cougars returned the favor by recovering that fumble. It was actually a fumbled snap. You could see as the quarterback came back, he thought he had the ball, but he didn't quite have control, and then it kicked out into the defensive backfield. Nice, easy pickup for the Cougars.
And this is going to be a handoff here. Morris, guy who recovered that fumble, is not going to get much room at all. Gets 1 yard, if that, and it's going to be 2nd down here and 8 for the Cougars.
And that'll end the first quarter. Score is 0-0. A lot of what we expected so far, I'd say. It's a close contest. We have 2 teams that came into the contest 3-1, both looking to get on the winning side of the ledger with their first conference game here. And I wouldn't say I've been surprised at all by much. The Cougars certainly have won the possession game so far. In terms of time of possession, they've held the ball much longer than the Warriors, and they've really been on the Warriors' half of the field for a good chunk of that first quarter. So signs are looking up, even though the Cougars haven't scored any points yet. I would say that they've started off really strong, certainly made their case that they can hang with anyone, and have done a nice job on both sides of the ball. I've been impressed, Tyler.
Yeah, I have too. But the one thing, if you have to point at a negative for the Cougars, I think it would have to be their fact that their inability to move the ball inside the 30-yard line. They've been really good, especially with that long kickoff return, the 15-yard pass to Weingartner. But once they got into that scoring position, that's when you've seen them. It hasn't really been a factor so far. The rest of this, or the earlier parts of the season, it's really just been this game. So it's something to look out for, especially with the size of the linemen of the Warriors. But as you said, the Warriors really haven't gotten anything going on offense.
If you're just tuning into the broadcast, welcome. Thanks for joining us here. VH Media production of Cougar football. Tyler Kading and Steve Corney here calling the game for you.
And it's going to be a read option here. Hull spins out of a tackle, gets 1 yard down to the 25-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 9 here.
Hull, the ball carrier, picked up maybe 2 yards before he was tackled by Santos.
So 25-yard line, about a 42-yard field goal if you're looking at it, 43 maybe. Where do you consider using the leg of your kicker, Andre Schmidt?
Well, remind me, Tyler, what was his long field goal a few weeks back?
I believe it was 47, and this would be about 43. Not much wind. If there is wind, it is in the Cougars' favor right now, but say they get stopped here throwing an incomplete pass, you have to go try the field goal, right?
Well, you might even, because of that, you might even try and run the ball just to get a little bit closer. You know, with 3rd and 8 right here, it's going to be tough to make the first down. We'll see what they do.
Morris in motion is going to be flagged down before the snap, and is going to be delay of game call against the Cougars. This will push them back 5 yards. Now it's going to be 3rd down and 14 here.
Now there is no play clock visible on the field. It is kept by the referee, or one of the referees, one of the officials. But it did kind of feel, just in observing from up here, that the Cougars were taking an awful long time to get that ball snapped. So I'm not surprised it's a delay of game. I would say at this point probably out of field goal range. So maybe you do put the ball in the air here to see if you can get a chunk of it back. And if you could pick up 8 to 10 yards, I would say definitely you want to run Schmidt out there, see if he can put one through the uprights.
It's going to be a guy in motion here. It's going to be a handoff to him. He's going to run backwards here. Nothing really going. He's throwing the ball, and he throws it into the ground incomplete. It is a legal play after the handoff. It's going to be 4th down here. This would be a 47-yard field goal. No indication that Schmidt's going to come out yet, and I think the offense will be left on the field here.
Yeah, and not a bad decision. I mean, if you punt, well, now as
here
soon
we
as I
go.
say that, it looks like we will have a punt or a field goal. This would be a really impressive field goal if they do, in fact, kick it. And it looks like they are lining up for it.
And this is going to be 47. Weingardner looking to hold it. Again, this basically the same exact kick as we saw 3 weeks ago now in their first win against Zion Benton.
And he showed plenty of leg throughout the year so far, so hopefully he can get it there.
This would tie his school record, as this one is up and sails wide. So the Warriors will get the ball at their own 37-yard line.
Yeah, it looked good. I mean, it looked like he pulled it just a little bit. Certainly had the distance. So a nice kick, and I think a good risk by Coach Bellicomo. You know, Deerfield hasn't shown the capacity yet to be a real threat offensively. And so even though you are turning the ball over and putting it at the 37-yard line, at least, so now they're putting it at the 20. So I'm a little confused. Was that, they couldn't have considered that a punt? I'm not exactly sure what happened there, Tyler.
I don't know either, unless it was touched at the line and deflected, in which case when it went out the back of the end zone, it would have been a touchback. It's the only thing I could think of here.
Yeah, and we didn't see any signal from the officials. So, well, the Cougars benefit from it, obviously, anyway, as the Warriors are going to start at the 20.
And it's going to be a run here, and it's going to get stopped. Chick Smith in on the tackle there. Number 22, Sam Fradlin, the running back, and doesn't get much distance at all. It's going to be only measured at a yard. 2nd and 9 here.
Like the Cougars, the Warriors have really shown a commitment to run the ball here early on. They have not put the ball in the air too much. Maybe they want to just sort of feel it out, see if they can find any space to run in, any lanes that the Cougars are leaving open. So far, they have not had much luck with the run. The Cougars have answered the call. They've really done a nice job stopping the running game. So I'd imagine at some point they're going to have to try and throw. We'll have to see what the game plan looks like.
And this will be another run here, and a nice tackle there, again by Chick Smith, who's been the really standout player on the Cougars' defense so far. Kenneth Kirstein with that run, and it's going to be 3rd down and about 5 here.
Tyler, the way this game is shaping up, we might win with a field goal. It's really looking like a stalemate at this point.
Especially, and you haven't seen much out of, especially with the Warriors, how well they've been moving the ball to get a point here, even before half, would seem like a blessing so far for the Warriors. Cougars, I guess you could say, on that first drive, you probably should have expected a point. Obviously not on the long field goal. Those aren't automatic, and a great catch there after being hit, and that's going to move the chains for the Warriors. But as you were saying, not much at all to separate these two offenses from their respective defenses, which have really been controlling this game.
And that was number 7, Charles Jones, on the reception, and boy, got to give him a lot of credit for hanging on. He got hit. He took a big hit from the Cougar defender there, held on, and he was about a yard in front of the stick, so they did get a first down there.
1st down and 10 here from the 31-yard line. Again, going with that formation with only one wide receiver. It's been a rotation right now. It's Luke Levin, that wide receiver, and it is going to be a handoff here, and going to be a nice run of about 5 yards, 6 yards here for the Warriors. But at it looks like 2nd and 4, where the referee is standing to rule the play dead.
That's Sam Fraden on the carry for Deerfield. He's a big guy. He's 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. You can tell, though, the Cougars have done a nice job of wrapping him up to bring him down. Certainly not going to be able to just throw your shoulder pads at him. You're going to have to wrap that guy up, and they've done a good job of doing that so far.
Second down here. Here's the snap. It's going to be a handoff down to the 40-yard line. He keeps his feet moving and is really close to the chains, and they're going to give it to him. A first down here for the Warriors.
And now for the first time, the Warriors are beginning to move the ball a little bit better, beginning to run a little bit better. Yep, they're going to give him a first down. You can see the chains moving on your screen there. Deerfield, their second first down of the possession. And like I said, starting to make a little bit of a run here, getting a little more space in the running game and taking advantage.
First down play here. Snap by Silverglade. He's going to look. He's going to fire. He fires deep. No one in the area except for the Cougar defender. And that's a pick to the 35, up the sideline to the 45, to the 50, to the 45. Stays in bounds at the 40. Knocked out at the 36-yard line. Who is it? The guy we've called all game, Drew Weingartner, making that play.
Well, he's having a big night tonight. I don't know what he ate for dinner, but I think I'd eat it before every football game. Weingartner is just all over the field. He's running for the Cougars. That's a pick for him and some nice footwork along the sideline. He could have given himself up about 20 yards prior, but instead he just kept running along the sideline. He got a couple good blocks from his teammates there. And just, I'm just as impressed with the athleticism right there. A nice over-the-shoulder catch. Looked like a baseball catch. An outfielder going back on a fly ball. Really nice play by Weingartner.
And really, that was a ball severely overthrown, and a nice job to even locate that and think he has a play. I didn't. And this is going to be a 1-yard run, if that, there for Hull, and it's going to be second down. I didn't think he had a play on it when the ball was first thrown, so a very good job of sticking with it from Drew Weingartner. It gives the Cougars another chance at life here, especially in good field position, as we've mentioned all game.
Yeah, fumble recovery and the interception for the Cougars, so they do have the 2 turnovers. We'd like to see if they can convert it here. Again, as we've spent most of the evening, we are on the Warriors side of the field.
Second down here, the snap is going to be caught up the sideline. Not much going there, as he's going to be brought down after a gain of about 3 here. That's Chris Mariella on the catch. That's going to bring it to third down and about 7 for the Cougars.
Almost looked like it was going to be the start of a screenplay or something, because the offensive line kind of let the defensive linemen rush in at the quarterback. I thought they were actually setting up a screen, but in fact it was just a 3 or 4 yard completion there.
Then the Cougars driving inside the Warriors territory, and it's going to be a QB run here, and it's going to get it onto the 26, and a first down there as Hull gave himself up after he got to the sticks. Nice field awareness there, and the Cougars will have another set of downs.
Yeah, just with the way the game is flowing right now, it'd be really nice to get some points on the board for the Cougars. We are scoreless here, about halfway through the second quarter. And though it is scoreless, I'd say the Cougars really, for the most part, have dominated this game so far. But with the two turnovers, in addition to outgaining the Warriors, we don't have yardage statistics kept up here in the booth, but they have really won the yardage gain battle as well.
And it's going to be another rollout here from Hull as he's going to get to the sideline and get out of bounds. And it's going to bring up second down after the play there. You can see on the top of your screen, I'm not sure if it was able to locate that. And it looks like the Deerfield, their coaching staff is talking with the referees. I'm not sure what that is about. Maybe they think they missed a hold or something, but not a big run as is. It's going to be second down. Hull lines up here with 3 to the right, 2 to the left, 5 wide, as we've seen from most plays so far from the Cougars. Motion here by Weingartner. It's going to be a fake handoff to him. Hull's going to have to roll out and not be able to get rid of the ball. Taken down for a sack. That's Robert Wyatt for Deerfield, and that's going to be third down and long here at about the 32-yard line.
Yeah, and Wyatt got into the backfield awfully quick. There wasn't a whole lot Hull could do there. Maybe a missed blocking assignment, or just a good move. I didn't see exactly how he got in, but nothing Hull could really do other than give himself up and live to fight another play here, which he will do in third and long.
And at this point, especially with no points on the board, 47, you need to get 2 yards to try that 47-yard field goal again. Interesting to see if Coach Balacomo goes conservative with a run play, but the running back does go out of motion. It's going to be, it looks like a quarterback run, and he is hit. puts him down at the 31-yard line. It's going to be 4th and 15 now for the Cougars. And no indication yet whether they're going to try it. It looks like they might try for that field goal again.
Yeah, since our punter and field goal kicker are the same person, we don't know immediately, always right away, whether it's going to be a field goal or punt attempt. But again, it looks like Schmidt is going to come out and attempt a 48-yard, which would be a new school record. He's on the near hash this time. Hopefully that'll help him. If he pulls the ball the same way he did last time, this is going to go right through.
And the kick is up and pulled too far. No good. So Schmidt is 0 for 2 from 47 and 48 here. 4:31, Deerfield will get the ball to start in a really defensive stalemate so far.
And it does look like the refs are putting the ball back at the 20-yard line. I'm gonna have to brush up on the rule there. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Normally, at the NFL level, when you miss a field goal, the team that takes over the possession, they get the line of scrimmage is the exact placement of where the field goal was kicked from. And that, I think, was both Tyler and my impression here in
my impression.
High school as well. But no, both times that we've missed, they put them at the 20-yard line. So at halftime, I'm going to have to get a rule interpretation and come back in the second half with some clarification for you.
And this is going to be a rollout play. It's going to be a little option. And a nice game for Deerfield as they get 6 collapsing onto the Cougar sideline. That's number 7, Charles Jones, with that play. It's going to be 2nd down and about 2 here for Deerfield.
And my understanding with in a few conversations that I had earlier today about the Deerfield football team is that number 7 is another star for their team. That's Charles Jones, as Tyler mentioned, 6'1", 195. Seems to be a pretty athletic player. Nice little run there and a good pickup on 1st down for the Warriors.
And this is going to be the snap. It looks like a little bit of a botched snap. It's going to be another option play. And it's going to be a 1st down as they're going to mark forward progress at the 31-yard line. So Deerfield moves the chains again.
Yeah, 4:15 left in the first half of play. So far, if you're just joining us, has been a bit of a stalemate. Each team has gained some yardage, but either via turnovers or turnovers on down or missed field goals, the other team has taken over. And I would say the Cougars so far have certainly gained more yards than the Warriors, but it's kind of been a little bit of back and forth, and no team has been able to put any points on the board.
And Coach Bellocomo and the Cougars just took their first time out of the game. They have 2 remaining. 4:14 here, especially on defense, where you have been so good so far. Just a little curious to me whether it was maybe a bad play or miscommunication at the play call. Why you would call timeout with your defense on the field, as they've been the better phase so far.
Yeah, my only thought, and I think it's probably too early for this, but my only thought is maybe want to conserve the clock to put an offensive drive together before the half, if we can stop them here. I would say still with 4 minutes and 14 seconds, so it might be a little early for that strategy, so not exactly sure.
This is going to be a 1st down play here. As you mentioned with the clock, 4:14, clock runs off 40 seconds if you stop them before the 1st down markers. That very well might be the case. As this is going to be, as I mentioned before, a 1st down play. We haven't seen much out of Jonah Silverglade, who is their quarterback who had a big game against Wheeling. In the last game, here's going to be a little pitch out to the 30, jukes in at the 35, down to the 40, and he's going to get the 1st down to about the 43-yard line there. So another nice play for the Deerfield, and they have a drive moving right now.
Yeah, and that was Jones on the carry. And you know what concerns me a little bit, Tyler, is, you know, we were talking in the opening and then again during the 1st quarter about how Deerfield fought back last week against Wheeling, had a comeback victory in the waning seconds of that game. And my concern is if the Cougars don't put some points on the board here, that they might have, you know, a similar type of comeback. Maybe, for example, they're a 4th quarter team. Maybe they have a strong showing in the 4th quarter. So hopefully we can get a little bit of a lead here.
Another thing about that comeback, as you were mentioning, as I mentioned before, is it happened with no timeouts. It was they were down by 6, and they were able to score 8 to put, down by 6, able to score 8 to put them ahead. So with that, so if they are going to be that 4th quarter team, that is something you have to keep in mind with your Cougars. But the Cougars also have not shown any lack of will in the 4th quarter so far as a defensive team. so far in this year.
And it looks like Deerfield's moving with a little bit more tempo, not a lot, but a little bit more tempo than they had earlier in the game. So maybe they're just a better team when they're under pressure.
Out of that full house set again, and Silverglade is going to be brought down in the backfield for a sack. A couple Cougars there. The first guy there to bring him down was number 50, Kyle Fassbender. And it will be 3rd down and 10 here, back to the original line of scrimmage for the Warriors.
Yeah, that's a big stop and a big loss. Great job right there. So one of the defensive linemen actually grabbed the jersey and just held on tight until some reinforcements showed up. But a beautiful sack there for the Cougars and brings them back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd and 10 from the 43-yard line. So Deerfield's got to decide what they want to do with 2.5 minutes remaining in this contest. And if the Cougars can force a 4th down here, they'll probably get the ball back and with a chance to march down the field.
And it's the first time we've seen them out of the shotgun set, 4 wide receivers. And is going to be brought down in the backfield for another sack. Number 59 there, the first one for the Cougars, McNeeman Vincent, their nose tackle. And it's 4th down here, 2 minutes to go. No timeout looks like it's coming for the Cougars.
Yeah, and both teams so far have shown the capacity to put pressure on the quarterback and bring him down for sacks. So defensive lines on both sides of the ball have been strong. And Deerfield has sort of bent but not broken so far as a defense. You know, they've given up the yardage to the Cougars, but no points. Looks like their punting unit's going to come on, and we're going to get the ball back here with about a minute, minute and a half, minute 20 maybe. By the time the ball is received, we'll have to see what we can do with it in the last 80 seconds of the first half.
And the 2 guys deep for the Cougars are Drew Weingardner and Max Lyle. As this punt was almost blocked, and this is going to go bounce, take a pretty much stagnant bounce, and that's going to put it at the 27-yard line. A minute 21 to go for the Cougars. Still 0-0. Cougars have 2 timeouts to march the length of the field.
And they have had a couple nice, 15 to 20-yard plays tonight. So this is it's not unreasonable to expect that they could do it, especially with the 2 timeouts in their pocket. We'll have to make smart use of those. This is where, at practice during the week, they really, I'm sure, work on this 2-minute drill as most football teams do, with short out routes to the sideline and, looking to sort of strike quickly. I'm sure they practice that quite a bit, and we'll see what becomes of it here at the end of the first half.
That's going to be a run here by Lyle. Lyle doesn't get much distance at all. Gets 4 yards. Refs waving to stop the clock here. Not sure exactly why, so it was a run up the middle. But it will stop the clock with 1:10 to go. 2nd down and 7, as it looks like there might be a shaken up Cougar on the play. And I'm sorry, no. The Warriors get their first charge timeout after that play, so that is why the clock stopped. 2nd and 7 here. So the Warriors think they can get the ball back and try to mount a drive with no timeouts. As we mentioned before, no timeouts in their drive in the last game, so maybe trying to set up something similar here.
Well, I got to say, that one surprised me a little bit. I didn't think that Deerfield would take their timeouts just because in this particular case it ends up helping the Cougars. Maybe they're thinking with the field position, with the Cougars being a little bit over the 30-yard line, that maybe they, like Tyler said, they may get the ball back here. But, any timeouts that they're taking is only helping the Cougars, not only save time off the clock, but it also is helping them to, get together as an offense and talk about the play they're going to run and make sure everyone's on the same page. So in my estimation, they'd be wise just to let the clock run if the Cougars are going to run the ball. But we'll have to see if that decision ends up biting them or not.
2nd and 7 here. Clock was reset to 1 minute and 15 seconds on the play. So 5 seconds added on with the running of the clock after the timeout was called. 2nd and 7. Guy in motion is going to be a handoff to Morris. Morris runs up the middle of the field. He's going to get knocked down at about the 37-yard line. It's going to be a 3rd down and 2 here for the Cougars. No indication of a timeout for the Warriors.
Yeah, the Cougars seem content to just run the ball here. It is 3rd and 1, so maybe after that decent run right there, Deerfield changed their strategy. Instead of calling timeouts with the hopes of getting the ball back, maybe they just figured at this point, let's cut our losses, go into halftime with an even score, 0-0. Maybe the Cougars can put something together here, make a long completion, and be within field goal range.
As this one's going to be a fake handoff here, it's going to be the read option, and he is brought down. Timeout signaled for by the Warriors. 31.1 to go. And the Warriors take their second timeout, and it will bring fourth down and the punting unit out here for the Cougars. So you assume if you're the Warriors, punt lands, you get the ball back with about 25 seconds to go is when you can start your return. At what field position are you looking at that you ideally want to get if you're the Warriors to get a good drive around?
Well, my guess with Schmidt's leg is that he's going to pin them fairly deep. I would say, the way he's been kicking this year from what we've seen, they may even have to start inside their own 30-yard line. If that's the case with only 20 seconds, I'm not sure you do much other than kneel it down. Of course, they obviously know their team better than we do, but it doesn't seem to me to be worth the risk to put the ball in the air. You don't want to certainly, throw an interception and risk a return for a touchdown or something like that, especially given the fact that, the way Deerfield's played so far. I think they can probably count themselves pretty fortunate to still be in a 0-0 tie.
As the one deep guy here for the Warriors is, it looks like number 7. That's Charles Jones, who's been their greatest receiver and guy out of the backfield so far. Is guy comparable to what we see with Drew Weingartner.
Yeah, he's been their biggest offensive threat.
And here's the snap, the punt, almost blocked, end over end, down to the 35-yard line, takes a bounce, is going to keep bouncing, running off that clock for the Cougars, and it will be stopped with 21.2 to go at the 34-yard line. And that's where the Warriors will have to mount a quick drive here.
Yeah, and really, you got to go probably 40, 45 yards even to start thinking about a field goal. So I would say I would expect them to just kneel the ball down here, or maybe just run the ball, in the hopes of a big hole opening. But otherwise, the Cougars, you're going to see their defense probably back off a little bit and just save a touchdown from happening on a long run or a missed assignment or something. I do not expect this ball to go in the air at all, because this could quite possibly be the last play of the first half.
They are lining up with, it looks like, 4 wide receivers, though. I would expect the same thing for a run to happen here. I think it's the more logical solution, but trying to bite the Cougars on the air, it's something you haven't been able to do so far. Change of pace with 21 left. And it will be a throw, and it's going to be brought down in the backfield for a sack. And they are going to call for the timeout. So another timeout here, 13.8 seconds. A very interesting call there by the Warriors. Doesn't make much sense to me.
Interesting to say the least. I think they should be happy that they didn't have a strip sack there. It could have easily turned out to be a fumble by the quarterback in a turnover into the hands of the Cougars. So I am very confused. I'm not quite sure what to say other than to say that, boy, now even more so than on the first down, I would imagine they're going to run the ball here and just go in the half with the 0-0 tie. And like I said, feel pretty good about it. I mean, their defense has bent. It hasn't broken. They have given up 2 field goal attempts to the Cougars and have been lucky that neither one has been successful. So, I think if you're on the Deerfield sideline, you're just kind of happy to go into the half with 0-0. I would be really surprised, even more so than I was on that last down if they put the ball in the air. But certainly the formation, Tyler, looks like they're going to do that.
I think they have to, because if they weren't going to put the ball in the air, what was the point of taking the timeout? Unless if you're trying to break off a 75-yard run, which is, especially with the way the Cougars have looked so far, is unlikely. And it's going to be a rollout and another sack by the Cougars, and that will run us to the end of the first half and a defensive stalemate so far here from Rust-Oleum Field. Warriors nothing, Cougars nothing. Back for the second half in a bit. Unless they thought they could take it to this?
Yeah, what happened? Can they see it in there?
Yeah.
Casper, did she say yes? Cougar fans, are you ready for a second half of football?
Welcome back to the second half here of the defensive stalemate that is the Vernon Hills Cougars versus the Deerfield Warriors. Nothing separating the teams during the first half. No points on the board so far. Do you expect that to change in the second half?
Well, I know that the game can end in a tie. I did clarify that with one of the Vernon Hills coaches. So we brushed up on our overtime rules. Now we understand the field goal missed rules. We got that clarified over a halftime as well. So we are just a wealth of information here.
And an onside kick recovered by the Cougars. Andre Schmidt fell on his own onside kick, and the Cougars start with the ball inside Warriors territory again.
Well, that certainly surprised the Warriors. You know, I'll say it was interesting. The ball was just barely tapped in the onside kick attempt, and Deerfield didn't react at all. Every single person on that unit just froze, and Andre had a clear path to the ball to recover, and the referees are talking for some reason. I don't know what they're talking about. This should be first down Cougars.
The ball does travel 10 yards. I think if they're talking about anything, can the kicker recover his own onside kick? I believe he can. It's another rule we're going to have to clarify, but they are going to give the Cougars the ball. First down here.
Well, the Cougars have pushed the right button certainly so far. They've just yet to break the score, so hopefully they'll get something going here early on.
And here's a nice run here, and he's going to get tripped up at about the 42-yard line. That's Drew Weingardner, the main guy. We've been calling his number tonight. And it's going to get second down and 5.
Well, I was going to say coming out of break that this game may certainly come down to a field goal. It may come down to the leg of Andre Schmidt, who's shown great capacity to make clutch field goals so far this season for the Cougars, in reference to the 47-yarder that he made a couple weeks back. And good way to start with the element of surprise with the onside kick.
Hole rolling out to his left, fires across his body. It's going to be caught for the first down, flag down on the play. And it's going to see what this call. I didn't see anything that would have warranted a flag. I'm not sure if you did. But interesting to see the spot. In that spot where the flag is thrown, it looks like a defensive penalty. It's going to be an offensive penalty. Offensive pass interference against the Cougars. This will push them back.
Well, you see Rosenstock there talking with the ref. I think he's confused by what the call was. He seems to think he was innocent. We didn't see much on our screen there. It was tough to see on the far side of the field, but it will push the Cougars back. Yeah, I was going to say this game could very well come down to a field goal and just little miscues maybe. Certainly everything gets magnified in the second half, especially when the score is 0-0. So we'll have to see who can maybe minimize the mistakes in this half and come out on top.
And 2nd and 21 here for the Cougars after that penalty, a big penalty. And it's going to be another rollout here by Hull. He throws on the run, incomplete. Overthrew his intended target, Jeffrey Rosenstock. It's going to bring up third down and long for the Cougars, who will move backwards 10 yards so far on this drive. After the onside kick, not being able to do much, and that's something I mentioned in the first half, and I'll mention again here, is the Cougars' inability to move the ball when they have good field position.
And if you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, it is a 0-0 game between the Cougars and Warriors. The Cougars had 2 field goal opportunities in the first half of play. They were both missed, but of course they were both greater than 40 yards, so tough field goals to convert anywhere. And that's where we currently stand.
It's going to be a fake handoff here. Fires off his back foot. Nice catch. Nowhere near the distance needed, though, as he only gets out to midfield. 4th and 13, and the punting unit comes on for the Cougars.
Well, they tried to set up the screenplay there, but Rosenstock got out ahead of his blockers, so he didn't really have much help there. And the defender wrapped him up, brought him down at midfield. 4th down, Schmidt back to punt. Looks like the Warriors will get their first possession here with about 10.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Hopefully Schmidt can pin him back.
If there's a drive you have to consider the most disappointing drive so far, I think it has to be that one after the onside kick. Long snap, and Schmidt, there's one criticism. He does take a long time to get rid of the ball on those punts, and he knocks this one into the 22-yard line. And that's where the Warriors will start for their first possession of the second half after coming off a first half, which they really could not do anything with the ball.
Well, they were a little bit stop and go on offense. They made a couple nice gains in the latter stages of the second quarter. They had a decent couple possessions, but I'm not sure they've been on the Cougars side of the field, and they certainly haven't strung anything together yet that has made them an offensive threat. So we'll see if they come out with the same approach, which was a run-heavy approach, or if they modify it here in an effort to get something going on offense.
And then going back to that familiar full house look with 3 guys in the backfield, and it's going to be, it looks like a quarterback keeper that did not go anywhere, and it's going to get a gain of 1, 2nd and 9 here for the Warriors.
Jonas Silverglade is the quarterback for the Warriors. He did keep the ball. Looked like he was maybe thinking about pitching it, but instead kept it and fell forward for about a yard. Bring up 2nd and 9 for the Warriors.
2 minutes gone here in the third quarter. Yes, you are seeing that right. 0-0 here in the third quarter. Really defensive game. Neither team has been able to do anything past midfield. Leading this game being really fast. It's fast so far in terms of getting this game done. And this is going to be down to the 25. Hit. Still he's on his feet. Pushed backwards by a couple Cougars. And it's going to make it 3rd down and about 5 here for the Warriors.
That was Charles Jones, the ball carrier for Deerfield. He's established himself as one of the key players on this Warrior team. Certainly the key offensive threat that they have. On the defensive side, we've been calling Ryan Lieb's name quite a bit. He's been a standout linebacker for the Warriors. He's had just a ton of tackles tonight, and it has been responsible for some of the troubles of the Cougar offense. But again, 3rd down and long here. The Warriors find themselves in a familiar position.
And it's going to be a handoff here. It's actually going to be a fake handoff. Throw, caught, 1st down to the 40 to the 45. And it's going to be wrapped up there at the 47-yard line. That was Charles Jones. Charles Jones on that play, and it's going to get a 1st down.
Yeah, and you can see they really try and get him involved quite a bit in a variety of ways. He has run the ball. He has also been a receiver, as he was right there. That was probably their best offensive play of the game that I can remember so far. A nice catch and run. And the thing about that, too, is that the first defender there, just tried to sort of push him down, and that's not going to work on a talented receiver like that. Really good football player. You really got to wrap him up. And by the time the Cougars were able to do that, he had gained about 12 to 15 yards after the catch.
Guy in motion, snap here, and it looks like it's going to be a speed option. It's cut by the quarterback down to the 40-yard line, so another 1st down. And the Warriors stringing together some big plays there. That was their quarterback, Jonas Silverglade.
Yeah, the Cougars have let up a few big plays there back-to-back. That was their best run of the game, which followed their best pass of the game. And this is a little something that I was worried about, as I mentioned at the end of the second quarter. That is, I'm worried that Deerfield, if we sort of let them keep hanging around here and not convert on our own offensive possessions, we're going to breathe some life into them. And it certainly, in their first possession of the second half, certainly looks like that is in fact what's happening.
They're going to get
that sort of play, I don't recall at any point this evening having seen a play like that from Deerfield.
Second and 8 here to go. After the triple option, that option play is something we've seen a lot from the Cougars, from the Warriors as well here. So they got 7:10 left here in the third quarter. Still nothing. It's going to be a backwards pass and going to be tackled at the 36 by Chick Smith, and that's going to put it on to 3rd and 6.
Jones again on the reception. Looked like a lateral, actually. It was backwards. But he's shown some skills and some elusiveness. But the Cougars, I got to say, they've been covering him pretty well there. And it seems like part of their game plan is to focus on him, to shadow him, because anytime he gets a hold of the ball, at least most of the times he's touched the ball this evening, there's been 2 or 3 Cougars in the vicinity able to bring him down. So I think a good defensive game plan to sort of hone in on their best offensive threat, and so far it's worked. It'll bring up 3rd down for the Warriors.
3rd and 7, and I wouldn't say there has been a true biggest offensive threat, and there have been a couple guys that have shown big plays, as this is one of them. Doing a Silverglade getting outside of the 20, tackled down at around the 18-yard line. So the Warriors are within the red zone right now for the first time.
Well, they found a few holes that just didn't exist in the first half. You know, this is certainly the deepest they've been into Cougar territory, if they've been on that side of the 50 at all. I can't remember exactly, but there's just been some running lanes that just weren't there in the first half, and certainly Deerfield's found them, putting a good threat into being the first team to score this evening with this drive right here.
And I think this is the deepest that either team has been. I think the Cougars are the deepest was about the 25 on that first drive of the game, where they had the long kickoff return and nice long pass, and then couldn't get anything past that. This is going to be another run here by Silverglade. He's going to get down to the 5. He's looking towards the goal line, going to get knocked down at the 4-yard line, and suddenly the Warriors are threatening here to put up 6 points.
Yeah, I think they fell for that fake pitch. Very, very last-minute fake pitch to the outside, and that opened up some running room up the middle for the quarterback. He took advantage, and certainly if they weren't before, this is certainly the closest to either goal line either team has been. Deerfield looking kind of like a different team this half, wouldn't you say, Tyler?
Oh, I 100% agree. I also think the Cougars' defense has come out of the half flat-footed. They haven't been able to find that explosiveness and match those gaps that Deerfield has. Deerfield has found and exploited. Guy in motion, here's the snap. There's going to be a handoff, and he gets in for the touchdown. So the Warriors put up the first points of the game here with 5:11 left in the first quarter. It's 6-0 Warriors.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that 3rd and 7 play, that long completion that they had too, that sort of jump-started that drive. The Cougars had them on their heels a little bit down on their side of the field, but that long completion followed by a 14-yard run, I think they just started feeling a lot better about themselves offensively, and now with a chance with the extra point to add on to that lead at 6-0, a lead that, you know, has proven, or at least feels a little bit insurmountable tonight, the way the Cougars have sort of stalled.
And the extra point, there's a flag down on the play. Looks like it's going to being a false start or offsides, and it's going to be offsides on the Cougars. This will push the extra point another yard in. But as you're saying, yes, the Cougars really have not gotten much of anything going on offense. It's been their defense that's been leading them the entire way.
I was just thinking with that extra yard on the penalty, if that might convince them to go for 2 instead. But I think maybe their thought process here is, you know, Schmidt's had a couple field goal attempts. If he is able to kick 2, it would be a tie game, whereas converting that extra point right there, you know, requires the Cougars to get in the end zone, or kick 3 field goals, I suppose. But they haven't gotten that close to the end zone, with the exception of the interception that was thrown to the corner I think that was in the first quarter. They really haven't threatened too much, have the Cougars, as far as putting points on the board, certainly as far as putting a touchdown on the board.
So 5:11 left. And if you're Coach Palacoma right now, does that 7 points feel almost insurmountable at this point of the game?
Well, I think the message you have to deliver to your team here is that, you know, they're still within 1 score. And they have been close. They have been, you know, moving the ball well. The exception being that first drive, that first possession of this half. But otherwise, the Cougars have found some success. They've found some running room. They've completed some mid-distance passes. So the offense has had some opportunities here. They've tended to stall between the 20 and 30-yard line, as you pointed out earlier, Tyler. And so I think if they can maybe get over that hump and pinch one in the end zone, then obviously it would be a brand new game. But we'll have to see, you know, what happens here. I would assume here, I'm thinking now, I wasn't thinking onside kick at the onset of the second half, but certainly looks like Deerfield's going to have a regular kick here. But the momentum, I would say for sure, is with the Warriors right now.
I think it has to be, especially with after how both teams really, neither team had momentum in that first half. And it's going to be taken around the 7-yard line on the ground, out to the 20, and he's going to get wrapped up at about the 22. The first guy there for the Warriors was number 21, John Vukovic. And the Cougars will start at the 22 is where they're going to mark it. Actually, 23, first and 10.
Well, I'd like to see a commitment to the run again because in the first half, the Cougars did a really nice job of running the ball. They exploited the openings on the defensive line. You know, arguably the best player on the Warriors team is number 58, Ryan Lieb. He's playing linebacker. I don't see him right now. There he is. Okay, he's actually looks like he's covering up the slot receiver right now. But I think I'd like to see some runs out of the Cougar, commitment to the run game.
And it's going to be a fake handoff here. Hull tries to get somewhere by himself, gets back to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be second down and 10 here.
And the reason I say that is, you know, at this point in the game with 5 minutes left in the third quarter, plenty of time. You've got plenty of time to run your regular offense. You don't have to worry about hurrying up. You don't have to worry about, you know, putting the ball in the air every down. I think you stay committed to who you are. You had some good yardage gained in the first half. You certainly outgained the opponent. I think you got to, you know, keep with that game plan. Run the ball, short passes. Here's one of them.
And this was caught by Mariella. Mariella gets up to the 37. Boy, off his hand, that ball looked like it was headed straight to a Warriors defender.
Well, yeah, not only that, but it actually looked like if Mariella didn't catch that, it would have been an interception. There was a defensive back waiting right there.
A really nice catches. Like I said, it looked like that ball was not where Hull wanted to put it. Looked like it was thrown right in front of Mariella, and a really nice job to salvage that. Really salvage the drive for the Cougars, move the chains. First and 10 now. From the right hash here, first and 10, 2 to the right, 2 to the left, halfback in set motion. And it's going to be a read option here. Hull gets out to the 49-yard line, I think maybe a yard short of the first down. It's going to be second and inches here.
Now
and they might be moving the chains.
This possession looks a lot more like the majority of the possessions that the Cougars had in the first half. And by that I mean they're moving the ball, they're running the ball, they're finding some open area, and they're taking advantage of those holes. And I think that's what you have to do here. You can't throw the game plan up in the air just because you're down 7. I think you got to stay committed to what your strengths are. And so far in this game, the Cougars have shown that they can run the football, and they should continue to do so until Deerfield stops them.
And here we are at the 49-yard line. Not quite in Warrior territory yet, but only 1 yard away from that, and it's going to be a fake handoff here. Hull throws over the middle. This one overthrown. Looking for Nick Morris. Ryan Lieb was the guy in there knocking down Hull, making him throw that ball. It's going to be second and 10.
Well, I think if that guy was running at me, I would have probably gotten rid of the ball quickly, too. He's a special player so far as Lieb. And there was a bit of a window there for Hull to make a connection with the receiver, but it was overthrown, thrown a little bit high. There was some room between the defender and the receiver. Unfortunately, we couldn't find it, but that's all right. Second down. We got a chance here to continue to move it. I would expect them to go back to a run.
But second down and 10 is really that point where you have an entire open playbook if you're a coach, and Hull does run the ball, and the read option gives himself up after a 2-yard gain, 3rd and 8. But second and 10, you can go really with whatever you want. If you do go with the pass, and they've really shown guys like Mariella have been able to go out and get those balls, Weingartner as well, and just make those big completions. But their running game has also shown that they are the most effective unit so far. So really putting Coach Balacomo really having 2 hard choices on those first and 10, second and 10 plays. This brings up 3rd and 7 here.
Yeah, and it certainly looks like the formation's a passing formation. That's what I would expect here.
4 to the left. Hull rolls out, has to fire across his body, does, and this is off of the hands of Max Lyle. Incomplete, and it will be 4th down, and another punt here for the Cougars.
Yeah, and just a little bit off on the accuracy right now for Hull. Last 2 throws have been a little bit high. He did have an open receiver. It was a well-designed play. The route tree looked good. But Hull just overthrows him a little bit out of the reach of the receiver, and unfortunately what would have been a first down turns into a 4th down and a punting situation for Vernon Hills.
Schmidt back to punt it. The deep guy there is Charles Jones for Deerfield. 2:51 left here in the third quarter. 7-0 Warriors. As this one is a low snap. Schmidt has to field it off of the ground. He punts this one extremely high. Fair catch called for at the 16-yard line by Jones, and that's where the Warriors will start their drive.
That was a booming kick right there. A lot of hang time, a lot of distance on that one. And then, as the ball was coming down, I was thinking, it's really, ball security is really important in a game like this. And Jones made a nice job calling for the fair catch and securing the ball. That's the type of play, if he bobbles it at all, there's 2 Cougars in the area. It's an easy pounce on or maybe even a pick up, and they're within 10 yards of scoring. So nice job by Jones. A lot of pressure on the receiver there in that punt situation, and it goes unnoticed until someone like that makes a mistake. So good job by Jones for the Warriors.
And I don't think punt returners and kick returners get enough credit for just as what you just said, keeping control of that ball. Is it going to be a handoff and a nice tackle there for a gain of about 1 yard.
There's a Cougar player down at the goal line. He's face down.
As McNeeman Vincent down. As was going back to those punt returns, as you were saying, if you bobble that ball at all, you can get hit, and then really you're done for, and the ball's on the ground with only your guys in the area. So that's a really big aspect of the game, especially on those fair catches. You see them as automatic, but with the lights and everything here, could be hard to see. So a nice job there by Jones. With the Cougars, with their player down here, 2nd and 10. How do you think their defense changes now that they're pinning the Warriors back to the shadow of their own goalpost?
Yeah, I think field position has a lot to do with it. You know, I would say they are going to get after the quarterback, as they have been doing, you know, pretty much most of the game. The exception being that last drive. You know, the Cougars were kind of carved up a little bit by the Warriors, I'd say, on that last drive. But in this particular case, with the ball at the 11-yard line, the Cougars have to be smelling, you know, a turnover on downs here. And if they were able to do that, they could sort of flip the field position here after that good punt by Schmidt. You know, if Deerfield, you know, goes to a 4th down situation, clearly from this point in the field they will be punting, and the Cougars could be starting, you know, as far up as midfield, let's say. So this is a big stand. I'd say this is a big spot in the game with 2.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Vincent is walking off the field under his own power, so that's good to see. Coaching staff and trainers retreat to the Cougar sideline. Never like to see injuries, of course. And nice that Vincent looks like he will be okay. He's being evaluated right now on the sideline.
2nd and 10 here. This is a good thing. I can't see exactly what they're doing with him, and you never want to speculate on injuries. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but if we hear anything, we will keep you informed. 2nd and 10 here, as it's going to be a handoff up the middle. It's going to be a 1st down as he trips him up at about the 21-yard line, and the Warriors get another 1st down and another drive started up here.
Yeah, and those are the kind of plays you certainly have to limit, especially now that you're down 7 and you haven't put any points on the board. You know, trying to keep them, you know, to a punt here to get them to turn the ball over on downs. Of course, Cougars have also 2 forced turnovers tonight. They have an interception and a fumble. You know, something like that would sound pretty good to me right now.
Especially in any time at this point in the game when you're down by 7, a turnover sounds like a great thing. 1st and 10 here, as is going to be looked like it was going to be a QB, I guess, option or a QB draw over to the right side, snuffed out by the Cougars as they bring them down for a loss of about 4, and it's going to be 2nd and 14 here.
Those last 2 plays for Deerfield are pretty indicative of what they've shown all night, which is sort of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back approach. They have a really nice run for a 1st down, and all of a sudden they can't get out of their own way. You know, with that loss right there, brings up a long 2nd down. Now, they've shown also on the other side the ability to get out of a situation like this with a completion to their best receiver, number 7. Hopefully the Cougars can hold tight here and keep it in a 3rd and long.
2nd and long here, and it looked like it was going to be another option play as this one's thrown in the vicinity of 2 receivers, but incomplete. 3rd down and 16 here. A very good spot for the Cougars and a big spot in the game.
Yeah, this is a must stop right here, as far as I'm concerned. I know there's a whole quarter left, but just for your own confidence, you know, for your own momentum, I think this could be a time where the Cougars sort of flip that by making a stop. Hopefully they're able to do just that. And if they're able to do just that again, I think they're going to get outstanding field position here when they do take it over.
Looks like there's 2 wide receivers here for the Warriors, 2 tight ends, and a halfback. Is going to be a snap, rolling out to his right. Looks like he might try to run with this one, and he gets close to the 1st down, falls just a couple yards short, and it's going to be 4th and about 2 here. And interesting to see what the Warriors do with this situation.
Yeah, I think at this point in the field they have to punt it. It does look like fourth, maybe even one. I think it'd be awfully risky, given some of the negative plays we've seen so far out of them, to go for it this deep in your own territory. Maybe they're waiting for a measurement or to get the exact spot, but I got to imagine we're going to see the punt unit here soon.
Yeah, it does look like it's short. The clock is stopped. It looks like they might be measuring it. And they are going to roll the clock here. So fourth and short, and it looks like the Warriors might be going for it here. No, they bring out their punting unit right now. That's something we've seen from both teams quite a bit, is they bring out their offensive unit and try to catch the other teams off guard by bringing out their punting unit later. Not as effective against the Cougars, as their punt returner is a member of their defensive first team.
Well, it seems like they're conflicted as much as we are making the call on whether or not they're going to go for it or punt, but this is going to be great field position.
And this is another one, fair caught here by Weingartner at the 46-yard line. So the Cougars will start in decent field position again here with 22.3 seconds left.
Well, that's the thing about that. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, that punt receiver there. You know, oftentimes you're either the hero or the GOAT, and there's really no in between. You know, of course, if you're able to return a punt for a touchdown, you're a hero, but you've seen plenty of instances, too, where you're just not able to handle the ball, and, you know, it's a fumble and a turnover right away, and so, you know, a nice job by both teams so far securing those punts.
And it didn't look like on that play that Weingartner saw it straight away. And it looks like he had to make a second effort at it, as this one's going to be a nice rollout there by Hull, and nice catch on the sideline by Nick Morris, and that's going to get, if not close to a first down, a first down.
Well, Maris did just what every...
And they are going to move the chains.
Yeah, Maris did what every good receiver does, and that is when he sees his quarterback rolling out, he's going to adjust his route and start coming back. Because when you're on the run like that and you can't set your feet, you can't get as much mustard on the ball. You're not going to be able to throw it with the same amount of velocity as if you're sitting in the pocket with good footwork. So Maris comes back to the ball, gives his quarterback a chance to make a completion.
It's going to be a screen play here, Mariella. Mariella gets to the 40. Mariella down to the 36-yard line. It will be second down and 4 here, so another short pass by the Cougars, not trying to risk anything. And a nice ball movement so far this drive, which is something we haven't seen in quite a bit.
Well, and sometimes you see the short passing game sort of, you know, set up a shot at the end zone. And I think what you might see here, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we're able to convert a first down here on the 2nd and 5 or get a new set of downs. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a shot deep just to sort of try and catch the Warriors off guard.
And the clock did stop there with 8.8 because he got out of bounds. Hull, pocket collapsing, he's going to get sacked down for a loss of about 8. It's going to put it at 3rd and 13. And they'll have the quarter break, the draw up a play for that, as the end of the third quarter happens. 7-0 Warriors here going into the fourth quarter. Still really a defensive stalemate so far.
Well, in that last play, you just reminded me that both teams have really had a pretty stout defensive pass rush. Both quarterbacks, I would say, have been under duress throughout the evening. You know, Hull taking the sack right there, more a function of the offensive line, though. He didn't give much time to consider his receivers and try and find an open man. But both defensive lines have played pretty well tonight for the most part, with Deerfield giving maybe a little bit more space to the Cougars, but as soon as they get inside the 20, 30-yard line, they've really buckled down. So, you know, the Cougars have been moving the ball with a certain degree of success and just haven't been able to sort of finish their drives tonight.
As the fourth quarter happens here, starts up. 3rd down and 13 in a big spot in the game, trying to get your drive, and especially if you can convert on a long play like this, that gives you a lot of momentum going forward.
Well, I would expect if they don't get it to probably punt this possession, but there aren't too many more possessions where they're not going to try and go for it on 4th down.
And it's going to be a run play outside Weingartner, gets it down to the 38-yard line. Really too long here for the 55. So Schmidt is coming on, I would assume, to punt here on 4th and 7. So conservative play call, trying to just get yards on the ground. Is that a good call or bad call in your opinion?
I think it's a good call. I think it's the right call with you know, almost a full quarter to play. I think that there's no need to panic yet. I think that on our next possession, as I mentioned earlier, we probably would go for it. But with 11.5 minutes here, I think you put the ball back in the hands of the Warriors. You trust your defense. Get the ball back as soon as you can, of course, and then see what you can do on the next drive.
And Schmidt with this punt is going to get out to the drop and roll to the 10-yard line, where it'll be down by the Cougars, and that's where the Warriors will take over. Another bad spot for where you want to start a drive.
It looked like Jones for a minute there. I don't know if you could see on your screen that it looked like he actually thought about picking that ball up, and I think the Cougars are actually fortunate that he didn't end up doing so, because it looked like he had some running room along the right-hand side, and it wasn't until the punt coverage unit got down there and was able to down the ball until it stopped. But I would say that maybe the Cougars catch a little break there. It's always a little risky to pick up that ball and go with it, but I would say Jones, with his athleticism, his skill, could have done some damage if he had done that.
I think so too. I think if you look at where the Cougars were positioned there, I don't think neither kick returner saw where the ball went originally. It's going to be a little pitch down to the 10, hit by his own guy, and it's going to push him forward to about the 15-yard line. It's going to be 2nd and 5. Going back to that punt, I don't think either Warrior knew who was going to get that ball or really where it was in the night sky here under the lights. So as we mentioned before with the punt game, with the receivers not being able to see the ball well, I think that prevented a large return.
Again, nice little run there for Jones. I've been impressed, though. The Cougars have, for the most part, have kept him in check. He's clearly their best offensive player, and the Cougars have dropped him for a loss a couple times and just sort of kept him in check throughout the evening. He's made a couple nice gains, but for the most part, the defense has been up to the task tonight.
2nd and 5 here, under center. Takes the snap, rolls, and he's going to get hit by a couple Cougars and sacked. First guy there looks like was number 32, Jeffrey Rosenstock, and that hit was finished by Kyle Fassbender, number 50, and that's going to push him back to 3rd and 10 here.
And once again, there's that defensive line play that I alluded to a little bit earlier. Just great pressure up there by the Cougars, and Rosenstock, a big part of that rush, and did a nice job bringing the quarterback down for a loss, and sort of, again, resets them almost to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 9. Big spot for the Cougars once again here. I'd like to see them step up here and get the ball back for their offense.
Only one wide receiver, and that's out to the top of your screen, number 4 there, Joshua Mays. I'm sorry, Brett Sclair, the only receiver, number 4, up on the top of your screen. This is going to be another option play, and the Cougars wrap him up, and this is going to knock him down at the 5-yard line. A couple Cougars there. It was McNeeman Vincent, who looks like he was the first one there. He was the one that came up slow on the last defensive possession. And this is going to cause a punt, and the Cougars, it looks like, will get pretty good field position.
Well, I'm anxious to see if we can turn this into something, because Deerfield is definitely deep in their own zone. The crowd's kind of been out of it most of the night. I mean, certainly the parents have been awfully quiet, but of course they typically are. But even the students, I see more people turning around and talking to their friends, because there hasn't been a whole lot to get excited about. Maybe the Cougars can do something here with this punt return.
And this is deep into the end zone. It's going to be not a good punt. It's going to drop at the 40 and picked up, and actually not picked up. You're going to let it go and roll out to the 49-yard line. So the Cougars will start at about midfield here, down 7 points here with 8:31 to go. How many possessions do you think they can get left with this game?
Well, I think they're probably down to their final 2 possessions, I would guess, with 8.5 minutes left. Obviously, a lot of it depends on the clock and how many first downs each team's able to earn here. But I would say at this point, you're probably, especially where you are at the field, you're probably in 4-down territory. I don't think you're going to see any more punts from the Cougars unless they get up by a score. But we got to score 1 before we even think about that.
And Hull, he's going to have to throw this one into the ground. Nice job there, not taking the sack. It's going to be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, especially when Lieb is breathing down your neck. That was a nice job just getting rid of the ball. It would have been about a 7-yard loss, but instead Hull's able to get rid of it and throw it at the feet of the receiver. So they will keep the 10 yards to go here on 2nd down.
Another interesting rule difference between the NFL and NCAA and the high school level would really count for that play. He had to throw it into the feet of his receiver. I think his receiver in the area was Jeffrey Rosenstock. Intentional grounding doesn't stop when you get outside the tackle boxes at this level, as you have to throw it at least in the vicinity of a receiver. This is going to be a screen pass. Could have got down to the 50, to the 45. He goes to the 40, to the 30. He breaks free. Drew Wygardner is into the end zone. Who else for the Cougars but the guy...
Number 22, Drew Wygardner.
and the Cougars cut the lead to 1 point.
What a burst of speed Drew Weingartner just showed, and now the crowd is into it, and they should be. That was an outstanding run. I'll tell you what, the Warriors had a chance to tackle him on not one but 2 occasions, and Weingartner, with some shifty footwork there, got right down the sideline and just outran the defense. That was an outstanding run. Most of the yards coming after the catch. It was probably just a straight horizontal throw, about even with the line of scrimmage, and Weingartner, as he has done the whole night, puts the rest of the work in. Way to go, Andrew Weingartner.
And Schmidt, his extra point, automatic, and this game is tied with 8:16 to go here. An entirely new ball game and a huge momentum shift.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can hear the band playing now. You can see it in the expressions on the cheerleaders' faces, the student sections into it. You know, you're only ever really, when you're down by 1 score, you're only ever 1 big play away from getting back in the game. And Drew Weingartner just made one for the Cougars.
I didn't get a chance to mention it, but at that 3rd down play where they got him for the sack, it just seemed like a shift. It seemed like the entire crowd and the team was getting right back into the game after being able to stop him in a really big play, and that shows there with the long pass there to Weingartner, who really did a nice job. Talk about his speed, but also his body control, being on the sideline there.
And I think you saw, you know, that it probably began with the energy of the team. They were pumped up about getting that sack. You know, they were sort of jumping up and down and waving their arms. So you could definitely you know, sense a lift, I would say, in the team's personality, in the team's energy, and that really helped. And certainly a great individual play like Weingartner. And you know, obviously he had to receive the pass, but I'm going to say that was mostly an individual play by Weingartner, getting down the sideline. Is only going to do wonders for your team's morale.
Here comes Schmidt kicking from the 40. His first kickoff of the game that goes deep, if this does go deep. His only kickoff so far was an onside kick. And this one will go deep. This one will go out to the 1, bobbled, and it will be picked up down to the 5, to the 10, to the 15. Jukes outside to the 20, to the 25. Schmidt, the last guy back. He's able to get him out of bounds at the 46-yard line. A great play by the kicker after a broken kickoff return goes awry for the Cougars.
Yeah, it was. He played the angles right there. He did a nice job there. Last man to beat. Definitely a touchdown-saving tackle. And whatever momentum we just talked about the Cougars getting back would have been completely wiped null had the Warriors brought that one back for 6. So good job, good hustle, good angle by Schmidt. Sometimes as the kicker, oftentimes you're the last man to beat, and that time he just didn't let that happen. So good job.
And we mentioned it before with the punts and kickoffs, not being able to see the ball, as that one went right through his hands. Luckily for the Warriors, I guess you could say, he was able to turn it into something, and a really big return at that. And this is going to be a backwards pass here to the 40, running along the line of scrimmage onto the 42, flag down. And it looks like this most likely will end up being a holding call and will push the Warriors back 10 yards. And it is a holding call against the Warriors, so it will be first down and about 20 here.
And I can just sense the energy on the Cougar side of the ball is really lifted up. They're just swarming to that ball right there. You had 2 or 3 guys in pursuit, and the hold will push them back even further, make it first and long, first and 20 about. Interesting play from the Warriors in reaction to that long touchdown pass, because I figured they would go right back to running the ball as they've done most of the evening, but instead they elect for a somewhat risky pass. It was a backwards pass. Sort of any sort of mishandling can be an issue, but the Cougars were right there. They covered it well, and with the penalty, you're looking at a second and about 21 for the Warriors. Or excuse me, first and 21.
And you took the words right out of my mouth that the backwards pass is, if that's dropped, that's a fumble, and there were a bunch of Cougars in the area. So it's a good thing he was able to hold on to that. Those 10 yards look better. And this is also a fumble, and this is going to be pounced on, and it will be second down and about 25 here. Going back to the backwards pass, there were Cougars in the area. If he drops that ball, first and 20, it looks a lot better than the Cougars having the ball within your own 30 if you're Grace Lake right now. Or sorry, Deerfield.
Well, the decision to pitch it wasn't necessarily a bad decision. The issue was the timing. He had already been contacted by the defensive player, and so when you go to pitch it at that point, you know, your bearings are a little bit off, and so he kind of missed the pitch, it wasn't a good pitch. It was a good job recovering. It was a good job recovering by the offensive player who just fell on it, which is the right thing to do. But now you're looking at second and, 25 or so?
It says on the scoreboard here, second and 26. Here, 6:47 to go in the fourth quarter, and this is going to be QB run here. It's going to be stopped by a couple Cougars. Chick Smith, one of the guys in there, number 51. The other guy there being Tyler Brancato, number 2. Brings up a third down and about 21 here for Deerfield.
Thank goodness he didn't throw that ball, too. He had a couple different receivers streaking down the middle of the field, and he elected to keep it for some reason. It didn't look like there was great coverage in the secondary there, but he elected to keep it. Only picked up a couple yards. 3rd and 23. Wow. With 6 minutes left, it looks like certainly they're gonna hold them to to a 4th down situation, in which case they'll have to punt, and then the Cougars will get at least one more possession here in a tie game.
And you have to be expecting a pass here, and I think it looks like a nickel look here for the Cougars. Have a bunch of defensive backs in there, nickel or a dime. And this is going to be a quarterback run. A nice tackle there by Chick Smith, number 51. Brings up 4th and a mile for the Warriors. And they will be forced to punt most likely here.
Yeah, good stop for the Cougars. They needed that. They needed that after scoring the touchdown. After scoring that equalizing touchdown right there, they did a really nice job of a defensive stand. They were aided by a penalty, of course, and a couple miscues. But you got to take advantage of stuff like that. No one's going to apologize for that. So nice job. They're going to get the ball back. Maybe Weingartner can pull another fancy move or two off here and get them in good field position. I would imagine they're going to try and kick to the other one, though.
Max Lyle is the other guy there, and that punt was almost blocked. They do kick it directly to Lyle. Lyle takes it at the 35. He's running lateral. Going to take it to the 39 before he's brought down, and the Cougars will take control. 4:54 to go, 3 timeouts. What's your call if you're here if you're Coach Balacomo? Do you try to run the clock down as far as you can get and look to get into field goal range, or try to go deep bombs to try to get those 7 points?
Well, first of all, I think the Warriors are sick of seeing the back of Drew Weingartner, so no surprise there that they kicked to Lyle instead. But as far as offensive strategy, I don't think you change too much here. You've only given up 7 points, and it's not like you're at a position in the field where you're too concerned about a turnover or anything. So I think you keep your offense going. Whatever's been working, just keep going with it.
It's going to be that same play that they scored on. It's the screen pass to Weingartner, and they stop it this time. It's only going to be a gain of 2. 2nd and 8 here. That clock keeps on ticking. 4:45 here. Second and looks like 8 for the Cougars.
Yeah, Tyler, you're exactly right. They went to the exact same play, hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. Didn't work that time, but still not. That doesn't mean it was ineffective. They did pick up a couple yards, and I think what you do there is maybe open up some space on the other side of the field, maybe find a different receiver if Deerfield starts paying too much attention to Weingartner.
There'll be another pass here and a sack, and a nice play there by number 21, Alexander Latronica, who made that play. And it's going to be 3rd down, and it looks like about 13 here for the Cougars.
You can sense a little frustration there in Hull's body language. He didn't have any time to even look up and find an open receiver. Offensive line's got to do a better job. I know they're facing a very strong and stout defensive line for the Warriors, but need to give him a little bit more time so he can set his feet, find a receiver. He's more than capable of throwing the ball accurately, so if he has a little bit of time back there, I got a feeling he's going to probably find someone open.
And it looks like they do have 5 wide here. A guy comes in motion. It's a fake handoff to Lyle, as Hull's going to have to try to make something out of nothing here. Not going to be able to. Gets knocked out of bounds on the Cougars sideline. Will bring up 4th down, and it looks like the Cougars will have to punt it back with 3:33 to go here.
Yeah, and they didn't run the ball at all in that possession, and that surprises me. I didn't think they would try to run the ball. That's been, as much pressure as the defensive line is putting on, when the defensive line is able to run in the backfield that quickly and pressure the quarterback, I think what you got to counter that with is a couple of runs. Because when you're running the ball, you're relieving some of that pressure, and you're getting going in the other direction, and forcing the linemen to sort of turn around and stop on a dime. I was expecting to see a little bit more of that out of the Cougar offense.
And this punt, Schmidt. Here's another really nice kick here. This is going to bounce at the 40, bounces down to the 30. And Weingartner is going to get there and down it at the 27-yard line. 3:21 to go here for the Warriors, 3 timeouts. Both coaches here have a really interesting situation how to play this series. Warriors do get the ball, 3:21 as I mentioned. If you're the Warriors here, you've been going to the run. The run has been working to an extent, but not to a big extent. And really neither is the pass. Having to go with this distance, what do you do here?
Well, I think right here, Deerfield's got to be running the ball. I mean, the last thing you want to do here is keep stopping the clock and giving the Cougars another chance. So.
And this is going to be a run here, and it's going to be stopped. Tyler Brancato, the first guy there, to knock him down. And it will be 2nd down and 10 here for the Warriors with just over 3 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter.
You know, I think they're probably going to be happy to go into overtime here. We haven't seen many plays inside the 10-yard line, and what Tyler and I discussed at half is, the overtime rules in high school, and that is that each team starts at their own or the opponent's 10-yard line. Haven't seen many plays at that part of the field, so maybe they're just willing to sort of get to that time and then just roll the dice, see what happens.
And another quarterback option play gets back to the line of scrimmage. It will be 3rd down and about 9 here for the Warriors. Clock keeps on ticking. 2:34 left to go here. When they make the snap, it'll be about 2 minutes. They put the ball on the ground. 1:20 is what you're looking at before the next punt.
Well, that particular juncture is where I probably would have called a timeout, just to keep a little bit more time on the clock for my offense. Coach Bellocomo elected not to do that, and I do understand if you get the ball back here with 3 timeouts, that's not such a bad thing either, but I may have tried to conserve a little bit more time on the clock if that was me.
I think you have to call a timeout here. If you make a stop here and it's a little pitch, he's looking to make something, cuts back as he's going to get stopped. Make it 4th down and about 5. And the clock is going to keep on ticking. 1:52 left. No timeout is going to be signaled for by the Cougars. They want to have their offense have all 3.
It'll be 4th and 7.
Yep, they're going to get another chance here.
1:37 to go. The clock keeps on ticking. Cougars with all 3 of their timeouts haven't been able to do much with the ball, but have shown some flashes, especially if they have the last possession. That could be key, as this punt is almost blocked. It has to be kicked over to the sidelines. A really nice punt will stay inbounds and roll out of bounds just at the 39-yard line. 1:16 to go here. The Cougars looking like they're going to have to drive 61 yards to get it into the end zone. And now what you're looking at is Andre Schmidt's field goal range.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you're gonna let this kid kick a field goal from anywhere inside 45 yards for sure. You might even consider letting him kick from inside 50. And in order to do that, it looks like the Cougars are going to have to pick up maybe about 25 yards or so here. At this point with 1:15, you probably want to put the ball in the air. You do have 3 timeouts, though, so you're not restricted only to passing plays. You could run the ball, but if you do that, you want to either hustle up to the line of scrimmage or call your timeout.
And the snap here, Hull looking. He fires deep, finds Weingartner, and he makes the catch down to the 25-yard line. Looking for a timeout for either team. Both would make sense. Nothing signaled yet, but 25-yard line. Looking like field goal range right now for the Cougars.
And you do not want to call a timeout here. At least, yeah, I don't think so. The clock stops for the 1st down, but I think now you want to let it run.
And looking for a timeout. I thought there would be a timeout called maybe on the Deerfield sideline. Neither one. Interesting, they're going to hurry up to the line. Hull gets it back to Weingartner. Weingartner trying to make something out of nothing. Not going to be able to. Down to the 27-yard line. 53 seconds left to go here as the clock keeps on ticking. 2nd down here. You have those timeouts if you're Coach Bellocomo, and that's something you have to be thinking about. You have to get at least positive yardage here.
Back to 2 plays ago, if that ball wasn't underthrown, it's a touchdown. The Cougars have the lead.
As here's going to be an option play. Hull takes it, knocks down at the 24-yard line. 3rd down here, and a timeout called by the Cougars here, and that's going to put the clock at 29.5 to go. 3rd down and about 9 here from the 24. You're looking at about 41 here for Schmidt if they take it on this and don't get positive yardage.
Yeah, and although it feels pretty good right now, Andre Schmidt, I'm sure, is rooting for the Cougars to get a little bit closer because, nothing's a sure thing. He has missed a 43-yard field goal, and that's not a criticism. I mean, there aren't many high school kickers who make 43-yard field goals. He's just one that happens to have the leg that he can. But it'd be nice if they picked up, an extra 5, 6, 7 yards here just to make it, in his mind, a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more of a sure thing. But he has folks kicked from this distance, and he certainly has converted. So Cougars are in a good position with 30 seconds remaining, but feel a whole lot better. If I'm the coach right here, I run the ball, I get the clock down to under 10 seconds, where the last play of the game, of regulation at least, is going to be the field goal attempt. They're not lined up in a running play, but we'll see if someone goes
isolating Mariella, and it is going to be a quarterback run. Hull gets to the 22, and I'm looking to see how, in my opinion, I think Deerfield should be calling timeout here. The clock keeps on ticking down to 17 seconds. No timeouts. Coach Valacomo has to be looking at the clock. You said under 10 seconds. I would have even gone closer to more like 3 seconds is when you call the timeout. And it's going to be 3 seconds here. 2-1 timeout called. 1.5 to go here for the Cougars. So, and on comes the field goal unit.
Yeah, and the only reason I would say under 10 is if there's a failed snap or something, but I forgot it's 4th down, so that's not even in the conversation here. It's going to come down to the leg of Andre Schmidt. Now, I got to tell you, he has missed 2 tonight. I don't think that has shaken his confidence at all. They've both been longer than this one. This will be the shortest field goal attempt of the night at about 38 yards. He has shown the ability to make field goals that are longer than this. You see the Cougars on the sideline beginning to take a knee and getting behind their field goal kicker here. But this is a big moment for Schmidt. He has risen to the occasion in a number of instances so far this year, and this is a big one here. Let's see if he can convert this. This would be a big win for the Cougars.
And I would expect to see an attempt at icing the kicker here from the Warriors to keep the Schmidt on the sideline for a little bit longer. This is going to be from 43 from the left hash. Schmidt lining up. Weingartner the holder. Snap. Kick. Up. And good, the Cougars win! The kick is good, and the Cougars have beaten the Warriors by a score of 10-7. What a game!
I gotta say, Tyler, if we're handing out a game ball tonight, it's gotta go to Drew Weingartner. He had the Cougar touchdown on the beautiful catch and run in the middle of the 4th quarter, and then he puts them in field goal range with that great catch at the end of the 4th quarter on a good throw by Hall. Puts him right in field goal range, and then, who could have written a better script for this game? Andre Schmidt converts on a last-second field goal. Cougars are 4-1, and more importantly, perhaps 1-0 in conference play.
I know, right? Hey, how do you like the intense game on a Friday night? I know, I love one. I'd pay $100 to see that again.